guys, it is Madam Uplift, and I am back with an episode of Madam Uplift TV for MadamUplift.com. And I would like to thank you guys for bearing with me and being patient as I took some time off before making some more content to process and handle some life transitions. And some of you know that I lost a parent and it was my turn. And fortunately, I feel that I was in the mental state to be able to handle that better than I thought I would. And I'm hoping that today we can talk about standing clear of the closing doors and how to better prepare for transition so that life doesn't completely get knocked backwards when it finds us. So a lot of people I know, not just myself, have recently undergone some life change. Some life change like switching jobs after years and years with the same company. Some life change such as moving to a new home and now dealing with different expenses. Life change as having new children. Life change as relationships ending. And at Madam Uplift, we talk about stress and handling stress and looking our best and fabulous as we do so. So I think this would be a good time to talk about closure, preparing for closure, having the ability to not need closure, and ways to stay in control when your life is moving into an unknown direction or a direction that is completely new. So I took some notes I'm going to cover with you guys. And step one, I believe, for preparing for life change and transition and knowing that an ending is coming or that you have to deal with an ending. Step one is realize and accept when there is nothing left. I think a lot of times people spend a lot of time in regret, or they spend a lot of time in trying to fix what is now different, or they spend time reminiscing on or trying to hold on to what was. And sometimes that energy is better spent with the moving forward process and what do I do now, instead of being angry or trying to change someone's mind or feeling revenge or feeling guilt over things that can no longer be changed. If you follow my social media, I talked quite a bit about how losing my father was not as traumatic of an experience because my family had taken the time to forgive and to enjoy each other and to create better experiences and put things all out on the table, which is my step number 2. Put everything all out on the table. When you really know that you have given all that you can to a situation, you've given your best self, you've fallen down, but you've gotten back up. You've tolerated the utmost, either disrespect or hard times or being looked over or being mistreated. You've tolerated as much as you could, but you also gave as much as you could. Then there's not as much to regret and there's not as much to grieve. You can look forward knowing that all is done and there's nothing to regret. I am part of a Facebook group that supports families of people who have committed suicide, and a lot of the things that people talk about in the group relates around not having answers or not understanding or not being able to move past why this person felt they needed to do what they needed to do, or how do I handle a holiday, or how do I handle various things. And one thing I like about the group is that most people validate however the other person is feeling. And sometimes when you're dealing with a life change, you're going to feel things that sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. Sometimes you understand, sometimes you don't understand. But you have to give yourself the time to process those things and not stay there. But if you put everything on the table and you lose someone, or you lose your job, or your car, or whatever it is, or, you know, your routine has changed, when you're putting it all out on the table, you have nothing to feel bad about, and it's easier to move on, and it's less likely that you will be looking for closure. And on that note, step number 3 is closure may be an illusion, because there will be times that you get no answers at all. Sometimes people are going to leave you and they'll be alive and they just don't return your phone calls, or they just don't check in on their kids, or they just never come back to work, or they steal from your account and now you're a fraud victim, or there's all sorts of different things that happen to us that will be unfair and that we will question and we will worry about. However, sometimes you're not going to get the answers that you want, and sometimes when you do get an answer, it may not be helpful anyway. So I try not to spend my life getting closure. I try and spend my life getting results. And sometimes the result is simply not giving my energy to a situation that doesn't deserve my energy. And I'd rather put my energy into fixing and moving forward and doing what needs to be done to move past the situation versus sitting in the situation. Because it's always better to go through something than to be stuck there. My 4th tip is don't give up your control. And what I mean by that is when we're working a job, or we're in a relationship, or we have parents, or we have obligations. It may be school, it may be a class, a career, anything. There's going to be obligations that we feel we have to do this and we have to tread like this because we don't want to lose this, or we don't want to upset this person, or we don't want to do the wrong thing, or we care too much what people think. And I think when you don't take the time to keep your control and treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated, then that's when the floodgates open for the rest of the universe to not treat you the way that you need to be treated. And what I mean by that is, don't spend so much time planning your responses or planning what you do around how someone else may react or how something may go. I think sometimes people don't lend enough credit to their intuition, and we talk ourselves out of things sometimes in order to avoid an outcome. However, we end up feeling horrible and we end up not liking the situation, or we don't like the circumstance, or we don't like the people we're stuck around. And it's all because we didn't stick up for ourselves or speak up for what we needed or speak up for what we wanted. Instead, we were too afraid to lose something. But if you maintain your control and really pinpoint what it is you need and what it is you're after, it's so much easier to focus on the information at hand versus thinking of the emotional aspect. Because sometimes we can't change the situation. Once someone is gone, they're gone. Sometimes people aren't going to love you anymore, and there's nothing you can do about that. Sometimes you're going to lose all your money and it's going to be gone, and there's nothing you can do about that other than focus on making more and replacing it. Sometimes your kids are going to be ungrateful, and there's nothing you can do about that. Sometimes your coworkers are going to let you down, or your family members are going to let you down, and there's nothing you can do about that. But what you can do is understand that we're not all the same. Understand that sometimes we have to see people for who they are and meet them for where they are. And when it comes to dealing with a change that you weren't prepared for, that maybe you feel you don't have the help for, or maybe you feel it's unfair, the best way to try to keep some of that control is to find one good person that you can vent to for a few minutes and get it out of your system, or write it down and get it out of your system. Get those negative feelings out of your system, because once you get those negative feelings out of your system, you will get moments of clarity. And those moments of clarity may go up and down, and some days you'll feel it and some days you won't. But as long as you continue to cleanse the negative emotions out of your soul and out of your mind state, you will begin to find a hope, and you will begin to understand that it's not over, that one thing that happened isn't the end of the story, and that one thing that happened may actually be setting you up for something that you didn't realize before. So I'm doing some of that myself, preparing for some life changes coming up this year, some that I believe will be very positive, but I also know will take a lot of work, and will also take a lot of sacrifice, and will also take a lot of help. And I have questions, and I have concerns, and I have thoughts, and I have wonder. And my dad was one of my supporters with parenting and with finances and with positive vibes. So I no longer will have that, but I know it will come in other forms. And I know that I can still do everything that I told him that I wanted to do before he passed. So with that being said, if you found some value in anything that I've said in this video, please make sure that you like. You can leave me a comment, because your all's comments do help me keep going as well sometimes when I feel like maybe I don't make sense to myself. And it's good sometimes to know that you're not alone in how you think. So definitely make sure you like, share it with someone if you know they're dealing with a life change. Subscribe to MadamUplift.com, where I focus on stress awareness, stress management, and self-image. And please support Madam Uplift as much as you can, because I definitely have big plans for this website and big plans for the helping that I would like to do in my community. So the support is greatly appreciated, and I definitely notice all the support that I've been given. So with that being said, uplift yourself, uplift another, and stand clear of the closing doors, because you got this transition and it's not going to hurt you. Until next time, you guys.